What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Horsepower Obsessed. Thank you for pressing play. Today we are going to talk about the C8 Corvette Z06 and the fact that it may actually be coming even later than we originally thought. Alright guys, so just like we said in the beginning there, the C8 Z06 might be coming a little bit later. Actually, a lot later than we thought originally. Now, if you guys remember back to the beginning of the C8 Corvette's unveiling, there was a lot of leaked documents suggesting the time frame of when we were going to get the Z06 and then the ZR1 and ultimately the Zora. And originally, the Z06 was supposed to be out in 2021. So that was recently pushed back to apparently coming out in 2022. But now we're reading some more information suggesting this car may not make it into production until 2022 or 2023, meaning your car is likely to be a 2023 at earliest. So if the production starts in 2022, you're not getting your car until 2023. So we may be still 2 solid years, maybe more, away from the C8 Z06. But before we continue, guys, if you could please go ahead, smash that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you do not miss any uploads like this, and YouTube can push this video out to as many car enthusiasts as possible. I would greatly appreciate it. My channel would greatly appreciate it. Now, you guys may be asking yourselves, why the delay? Why are we pushing this back again? Well, there has been some leaks on the midenginecorvetteforum.com talking about this leak. And apparently there is a person who has some friends at GM. I know the best of the best leaks start this way. And apparently he was talking with them and they were mentioning that the delays with COVID combined with the backlog of the C8 orders will delay the production of the Z06 into 2022 through 2023. Now, this is interesting because, like I said, this car has already been delayed once. It is likely to get delayed again. Now, this is actually the second time I'm reading this rumor from a different person. The very first time came from a random article that I read on Google, and I immediately thought that's probably not legit just because it just seemed a little too random. But now, this is the second time I'm reading it. Typically, with any of these rumors, if I read something crazy and off the wall once, I don't bother even talking about it. But if it comes up multiple times, there is very likely truth to it. So this is pretty likely to be the case. We're likely to not actually see the Z06 until early 2023 at best. Now, I know this probably shatters some of your hopes out there, but I still have my fingers crossed because I'm hoping for a little bit of an earlier delivery, but at the same time, like I said, this is now the second time I've read this, and of course, I'm always keeping my eye out for any information on the C8 Corvette, especially the Z06 recently, and this is likely to keep coming up. But with that said, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk about the C8 Z06 and what it is we know for a fact about the car and what has still yet to be confirmed. I would like to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that's going to be the guys over at the Ridge Wallet. It is a fantastic replacement for the old traditional style wallet. As a guy, I know we sometimes carry a lot of pointless stuff in our wallets, the receipts, hotel room keys, even spent gift cards. The Ridge Wallet helps you carry less, but always still have access to what you actually need. The best part? It fits in your front or rear pockets because it's such a sleek, minimalist design with 2 metal plates bound together by a durable elastic band. The Ridge looks nothing like a traditional wallet. You have the options of titanium, carbon fiber, and aluminum to ensure there's an option and design for everyone. As you can see, it houses all the cards that I need access to, as well as important identification like my driver's license and things like that. If it's the size of a credit card, it will fit in here. It can hold up to 12 cards, and it has RFID blocking built into the plates here on the front and back to stop any kind of wireless theft. If you go to the website in the description below and enter the discount code HORSEPOWER, you're going to save 10% on any of their products, including the Ridge Wallet. What we do know is all pretty great information. Now, what I'm talking about is specifically the drivetrain. We know a lot about the drivetrain. We know a lot about the car in general because of what the C8 Corvette base model brings us. So just like with the C7 Corvette, we are very, very, very likely to get a Z06 and a Z06 with a Z07 package. Now, the biggest difference between the Z06 and the Z07 is typically some aero, a slightly stiffer suspension, and tires. Those are typically the three differences between the Z06 and the Z07. That's been the case in the past, even with the C6. Now, the only reason I'm talking about this is because we've seen some leaked photos of the C8 Z06 sporting some interesting spoiler options and some awesome looking front dive planes, which indicates to me that at least one of these options is going to have some serious aerodynamic additions. New spoilers, dive planes, side skirts, all the good stuff. Now, there has been a lot of rumors talking about the fact that we may actually get a really big wing, something like the C8R has on the back of it. And if that ends up actually being an option, then that is most likely going to be reserved again for the Z07 packaged car. We've seen a bunch of different leaked photos of the C8 Z06, like I said, with a bunch of different kind of aero, wider tires, and semi-recently some center exhaust options. Now, this is something else that could also be dependent on which variation of the Z06 you get. If you get the base Z06, it may just be regular side exits, where the Z07 package car might be center exit because of a different style diffuser that would be made to work in conjunction with all of the other aero bits. So if you have front dive planes, better side skirts, better spoiler, having some sort of diffuser down there to really help with track use is always a good idea as well. But not all of the diffuser options are necessarily going to work with side exit exhausts. So even the C8R, again, has a gigantic diffuser in the back, and the exhaust tips come out a little more centered than they do on the base C8. The reason why aero is going to play such a big part in this car is because the Z06 has always been the track-focused Corvette. When you hear track focus, there's a couple things that come to mind. The big one is obviously aero. The second thing is a naturally aspirated engine. And that's going to bring us to our next point of what kind of engine is this car going to have. There has been multiple leaks on this multiple times talking about multiple different things, but the big one that always stands out is the fact that we are going to get a 5.5 liter flat plane crank V8 engine for this car. It is going to be putting out somewhere between 650 and 700 horsepower, and right around 600 to 625 torque. Now, a lot of people out there say those numbers aren't possible out of a naturally aspirated flat plane crank. Other people are saying those are absolutely possible. I'm somewhere in between. I don't know how legit that number actually is, because it seems awfully high for a naturally aspirated engine. But at the same time, the automotive world is constantly making advances in leaps and bounds with this kind of stuff, so it is possible, but at the same time, I would think that those numbers are going to be closer to 600 on both sides. Now, moving on to the next bit, we know that the Z06 is going to come with some sort of carbon fiber wheels in some variant. So again, the base model C8 Z06 is likely to have your typical aluminum or possibly forged aluminum wheels. But with the Z07 package, all the extra aero, possibly a different style spoiler, it is also going to have an option for carbon fiber wheels. We've talked about this in a previous video as well as to why carbon fiber wheels might not be your best bet, especially if you're going to daily drive this thing. But if you guys haven't seen that, I'll link it up to the top right of this one. We basically just discussed that the carbon fiber wheels are kind of prone to breaking. They're kind of brittle, but at the same time, they are very lightweight. So they make sense for a track car, not really so much for a daily driver. So just a little bit of a recap. What we know for sure about the Z06, it's going to have at least the 5.5 liter flat plane crank engine, somewhere between 600 and 700 horsepower. It's going to have a wider body than this base model C8 Corvette. It's going to have bigger and wider front and rear tires than the base model C8. It's going to have different spoiler options than the base C8, and it's going to have multiple pieces of aerodynamic bits that the C8 doesn't have currently. That is pretty much it. That is all that has been pretty much confirmed based on the leaked images and leaked documents from GM that we have seen. Anything other than that is still just a rumor at this point. So moving on to what some of the current rumors are, we have active aero. So some people have speculated that the Z06 is going to get an active rear spoiler. This came up majorly because of the leaked images showing what looks like an eagle landing as a rear spoiler. A lot of people assumed that was going to be active of some kind. Now, there's no documentation that I have seen that has proven that this is going to show up on the Z06. There is a massive amount of documentation showing that the C8 Corvette in some form is going to get active aero, but nothing confirming it's going to be on the C8 Z06. The next item that is out there a lot for the Z06 but hasn't had any kind of confirmation is a hybrid setup. So the front wheels will be driven by an electronic motor while the rear is still driven by that 5.5 liter flat plane crank engine. Again, no confirmation that that is ever going to hit the Z06, but there has been a lot of confirmation that that is going to end up in the E-Ray and possibly in the Zora towards the end to push the car to over 1,000 horsepower. And the last little bit that has not been confirmed but has been talked about a good bit is that the C8 Z06 is going to be a hardtop fixed roof coupe, and it is not going to have a convertible or Targa top option. Now, this is something that has really come up because of GM's past doings with the Z06. The C6 Z06 was the first C6 Corvette to not have a removable top. GM did this to make sure that the frame of the car was as sturdy as possible and really just overall ride improvements. So the car was way more stiff, everything flexed less, etc. Now, a lot of the people out there think that this is going to carry on to the C8 Z06, and I don't believe that it will for multiple reasons, but the biggest one being the C8 Corvette frame is already so stiff that adding a fixed roof to it, I don't believe would have enough benefit to outweigh the cons of losing the idea of a target top. But that is pretty much going to do it for today's video, guys. So if you liked what you saw, give me a big thumbs up. If you have any questions about the C8 Z06 or anything we talked about today, leave them in the comment section down below. I would love to strike up a conversation about this because a lot of this stuff is all but confirmed while some of it is pretty out there. So let me know what your thoughts are about any of the information we talked about today. And if you want to keep it a little bit more private, feel free to shoot me an email at horse.power.obsessed@gmail.com. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. I have loads of C8 Corvette news like this coming you are not going to want to miss. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next upload.